Welcome everybody to the Intergalactic Council of Three 18th transmission, would you believe it? I am holding the fort today. Laurie has been called away to do something important. Bree and Alicia are otherwise engaged. However, we have the most amazing guest tonight. Ivan Brownrigg is joining us from Avebury Tarot. And for our international star sisters and brothers, Avebury is the most delightful and ancient hamlet in the depths of Wiltshire, in about sort of the bottom third of the country, I think, Ivan, in sort of landlocked, quite pagan Britain and sort of prehistoric Britain, really. So Ivan's bringing the most phenomenal energy to us from that sacred site. There's a beautiful series of stone circles at Avebury that are famous, and just some really beautiful ancient energy. And on top of all of that, if that wasn't enough, Ivan is also a master tarot reader. So I asked if he'd like to come and join us tonight and just talk all things tarot, and to share with us any insights that he's picked up over his time with tarot, and particularly now, I think, because life is rather interesting at the moment, especially for us in England, but equally so, and perhaps even more so, with countries all the way around the world. So welcome to Ivan, and Ivan does have a Facebook page called Avebury Tarot, and I'll attempt to put links on this recording, Ivan, on the YouTube channel so people can find you as well. Yeah, welcome, and thank you for joining us. I might add that I've had a reading with Ivan in the beautiful Avebury, which was a spectacular reading, extraordinarily insightful. It was a very powerful spirit level experience and energetic experience. So I have complete confidence in Ivan in terms of tuning into universal energy flows and being a beautiful and open and clear channel with spirit. So that's my bit done. Ivan, over to you. No pressure. So, my darling, thank you for coming on. And how long have you been, let's just cover the basics, how long have you been working with tarot?
About over 40 years.
Wow.
I learnt the tarot from a very enigmatic, strange Cockney guy called Leo about 45 years ago, and a group of us.
Oh Lord! Oh Lord!
That's not so great. Hang on.
Hang on.
Are you getting lots of crackling still?
That's gone now.
Okay, good.
Fantastic.
Okay. So yeah, a group of us used to meet in a hall in North London and talk about all things esoteric, like your group does, and the tarot obviously featured in those meetings. So we'd just start with drawing a great big blank card on the floor in chalk, and then we're working with Leo and his guidance. We'd start to populate the card with symbols and figures and hieroglyphics and numbers, and he also encouraged us to make our own packs, which he said we had to do. And he said, when you've made your 5th pack, you can call yourself a tarot reader.
Wow.
So after 40 years, I'm still a work in progress. I haven't got to my 5th pack or even my 3rd. I just love these cards here, which I'll briefly show you.
Please do.
Can you see these?
A little bit higher.
Called the Frown Strong of Tarot.
Right. Oh, I'm going to have to come out of my 5D and well into my 3D now. Beautiful. Okay. Yep.
So that's the full card.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, interestingly enough, and he was very insistent on this, when you have a tarot pack, whenever you put it away, the full card sits on top, face up.
Right.
The card the other way.
Yeah.
Right, so that's kind of, I guess, some kind of shield or energy, protecting the pack. And this is a very, very enigmatic card. He said this was the highest card in the tarot.
Yeah.
And it's because I'm still really at the base level of trying to get to understand. So
Wow.
anyway, so we made this pack called the Tower of Frownstrong.
Yeah.
And this is the pack I use.
Yeah.
And it's just the Major Arcana. And he was kind of quite a little bit, he felt that the Major Arcana really embodied all of the wisdom and knowledge and energies and frequencies that the tarot is portraying. And so those 22 cards are the essence of the tarot. And he felt the Minor Arcana, although it's brilliant and lots of people use it and love it, felt it was more a further embellishment of the Major Arcana. And as man sometimes tends to do, he felt it kind of can complicate things, or in an attempt to explain them further, and that really everything that we need to get from reading, we should be able to get from the Major Arcana. Yeah. So I adopted that view myself, and so I still just do Major Arcana readings. So interesting that it's kind of come up again, because over the last...
Hang on, there's a little bit of crackling again.
It's horrible.
Just a little bit. That's better.
Still lurking around. Is that bearable?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, over the 40 years, there have been times where I've hardly looked at the tarot, and got involved in other things, and but it's just like this really dear old friend that I always kind of revisit, and sometimes quite extensively. Like you do old friends, sometimes you see them regularly and sometimes you go times and you don't, but you always feel connected to them.
Yeah.
And I guess a few years ago when I came back from Australia, where I've been living for 10 or 12 years, I came back to Wiltshire, which I now love and call home, and it feels completely home for me now. This very magical, ancient part of England that Clair was just alluding to. Yeah, I just felt really connected again with the tarot. So for me, the tarot is kind of a lot like lots of things we can do. You know, we're trying to connect with ourselves and other people. And so there are various mediums we can use. We can use, you know, some people read palms, and other people use numerology, lots of different arts and techniques. And they're all, for me, just ways to connect with people. And so tarot reading for me should, some kind of synchronicity goes on. But what I'm hoping to see in the cards is kind of what I'm picking up and feeling anyway. So I'm looking at the cards to sort of confirm or you know, shed further light on what I'm picking up about the person. Yeah. So it's a combination of interpreting the cards and interpreting our intuition.
Yeah.
And that's always, you know, just a great bit of fun, because intuition is such an elusive thing. You know, sometimes I feel very intuitive, and I know a green card's going to come around the corner, and it does. And I always make a little motion with my hands to celebrate, and also to link that experience. So my brain knows when I have an intuitive moment, I do that, so that I can reverse the process when I want to be intuitive. Sometimes it works. So very much about trusting our intuition, isn't it? You know, all the time. Yeah. Because even after 40 years, I get huge doses of imposter syndrome. Does this really work? And can I really do it? And And so I might get some, very clear kind of picture or feeling that I want to say something to the person. And, sometimes it might be, it's something quite specific, and you think, well, they just might say, hey, I don't know what you're talking about. That doesn't sound like anything to do with me. And then you're going to think, oh, God, I really got it wrong. So, but when I do say what comes to me, then I often find that starts opening the channels and more it's working. So,
I might add at this point that I only contacted Ivan today because over the weekend I was down in Devizes, which is about, I don't know, 6 miles away from Avebury, visiting friends on a farm. And my friend Shazzy, hi Shazzy, and her daughter Yazzie, hi Yazzie, we were playing with our oracle cards. And I've got this amazing set called Divination of the Ancients. Oracle cards, which I've used before, which are from Barbara Michael John Free and Flavia Kate Peters. And we were just pulling these cards, and on the Friday when I was working with them with another dear friend, Celia, the card that said tarot came out. I thought, fantastic, read the words, and it was all about being on your quest, getting out of your comfort zone and going out there on your quest. And I thought, well, great, that sort of fits. And then on the Saturday, I was playing with the cards, and Yazzie, who's a very intuitive star seed, aged nearly 16, she pulled the same card. Then her mother came in about half an hour later, and we were all shuffling extensively, and she pulled the same card. And I thought, do you know what? I'll just see what happens if I shuffle the deck, and out came the tarot card. So that's 4 times in 24 hours and 3 times within the same hour of tuning into each other. And I thought, great, that's it. Laurie does tarot, but unfortunately she couldn't join us tonight. And I thought, who else does tarot? It's Ivan. So I just reached out to you today and said, do you want to come on? And you said yes, because I don't know what that card was telling me. I'm reading this beautiful book that Ivan put me on to, this amazing man called Rory Duff. And I bought Rory's book, Grail Found. And so I'm reading that. And then this tarot card came up and talked about the quest, being on your quest. And I thought, right, let's just see if Ivan picks up on anything. Any themes that you've identified, general, universal themes that you've had through readings over the last few months or so, or just tuning in now, really, to see if there's anything there that you can pick up on. And I feel naked without my glasses, so they're going to have to go on my head now, and I look even more ridiculous than normal. But do you know what? I don't care. And I'm just going to find that card from this beautiful deck and show it to you. I know it's not a tarot card, but that's the card.
Okay. So
it's got the sword, it's got the chalice, it's got the Fool card uppermost, and behind it something sword, I can't read it, and then an amulet sort of with the star, the pentacle on it as well. So just being, because you are such an intuitive being and no pressure, is there anything that you sort of just feel about that, or the message in your experience?
Well, I guess more and more I'm kind of entranced by the amount of synchronicity that generally is occurring all the time.
Yeah.
So the fact that you picked up the tarot card came up to you 3 times, I somehow can't be surprised about. Oh, I'm so sorry about this.
That's all right. It just sounds like you're shuffling paper clips or crunching a crisp packet. It doesn't matter. Oh, lost my hair. Okay,
so one thing I would say, and you reminded me that when you mentioned Rory Duff, the guy who wrote the books that you're reading at the moment, he's been mapping and dowsing energy lines forever, and he's been doing it for at least 40 years, and he seems to have a very, very comprehensive understanding and view of all the myriad of energy lines that there are. from very tiny ones right up to the big Emperor Dragon lines. And as he says, and as you may know, there have been 3 main Emperor Dragon lines on the planet, around the planet. So these are energies from galaxies, not sun or moon or local energies. So they've been washing over the planet and right through to the Earth's core, which is this iron nickel transducer, which then sends the energy out again. And this is galactic energy, and it forms these 3 major Emperor Dragon lines, and has done for thousands or forever. But recently, since 2012, 2 more appeared, and another one's arriving this year. They always come in pairs. All ley lines or energy lines are in pairs. Now, the arrival of these major lines are amplifying the influence and the effect and the frequency of all the other lines too. So everything is going up, ratcheting up hugely in energy and power. So existing lines are getting wider and stronger. And Avebury, which we've been talking about, is on probably the most well-known energy lines in the UK, which is the St Michael and Mary line, which run from the tip of Cornwall right across southern England and exit out to sea at the tip of Norfolk. And on that line are areas like St Michael's Mount and the Hurlers and Glastonbury Tor and Avebury, going on out to East Anglia. So doing tarot readings in Avebury, and in fact doing anything in Avebury, is getting more and more tangibly exciting. Because everything's getting amplified. But equally, so is the not just the good stuff, but the bad stuff too. Everything gets kind of amplified when this is going on. So if you're feeling crap, you really feel down and crap. But if you feel great, you feel really great.
Feel really great, yeah.
So, we're just trying to be mindful of that and aware of that our emotions are really being challenged, and all sorts of little things might cause more of an issue than you would anticipate them doing. But equally, the tarot readings are very clear now, very strong, because people's energy is, they feel quite energized being, because where we do the readings, we're in this place that's right actually within the stone circle, where this energy line, Michael and Mary line, runs through. And so, it tends to really bring out the bruise and the great stuff too. So,
any particular themes that you've noted, sort of on the collective unconscious, collective conscious?
Yeah, I guess what has come up a lot recently, and I've been coming more and more interested in, is the shadow side.
Right.
And, because the shadow side is basically anything that we haven't shone our light on, right? And it's not just the grim, the dark side in the sense of negative energy or unpleasant stuff. It might also be the great stuff too, that we haven't allowed ourselves to express about ourselves or whatever. So basically anything that we've suppressed in any way kind of becomes part of our shadow self. And that's been emerging in so many of the readings that people are resonating with what's happening, but almost like from the past, or that's something it's like they see the story laid out in front of them and they feel it very clearly and very, very strongly, and it's often stuff that they just haven't been dealing with for some reason, but it's becoming more and more in their face and they need to do with it. So I'm not often telling them anything they don't know. I'm just kind of painting the picture, and they're kind of doing their own reading, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that shadow side, because it is about us embracing all of us, that makes us whole and complete and powerful.
Yeah.
Any part of us that for whatever reason we're not able to be with or aren't including in our kind of consciousness at any one time, we're less whole because of that, I guess.
Yeah.
So and it just feels more and more important that we bring all of ourselves, that we're really fully present to whatever we're doing at any one time.
Yeah.
And we know when we are, because we just feel great and whole and complete and powerful.
Yeah.
And so I think the tarot is a great tool for just showing up what areas of our life do perhaps we need to be more conscious of and have a look at and see what's kind of going on there, and what are we not kind of, and what might we be avoiding, or what we've been stepping over and not including. A bit like that.
Yeah. Now that makes perfect sense. What I'm seeing, gosh, all around me, whether it's in clinic or on the spirit level mentoring or just with friends and family, is that there is nowhere to hide now. Anything that is unresolved is coming up, and it's not coming up incrementally. It's coming up. It's just literally blowing up in our faces, and that seems to be borne out across sort of global events, where the subtlety, the nuance of distortion, of lack of integrity, lack of transparency, all of that's gone, and it's in your face, this way or that way. And I'm not going to make a judgment over which is right or wrong, because that just puts us into greater duality and separation. But it seems that the universe is giving us ever easier opportunities to decide which way we want to align with. And it just, I said, that the subtlety of the past, the greys have all disappeared, and it's just simply black, white. That's it. And it can be quite shocking and very, very uncomfortable for people when all of this stuff comes up in almost like a tsunami and just has to be faced. It's an uncomfortable ride. But as you say, equally, when we're on the crest of a wave and we're stepping into our power and holding our truth and our integrity, bloody hell, that's the ride of a lifetime, isn't it? And you just feel this is a great time to be alive. Quite extraordinary. Yeah.
Well, we are blessed to be around on the planet. As spiritual beings having a human experience at this point in the planet's development and evolution, that we play some small part in that is an extraordinary privilege, and the deal is that we benefit from it too. But I think that that's something that my teacher, actually tarot teacher, used to say years and years and years ago, all those years ago, that we tend to think the planet's here for us, but actually we're here for the planet. We're just this microscopic little bit of life scratching around on the surface of the planet. But we do have a very important role and function, and we can capture and process energies washing over the planet. And so not only do we help the planet in that way, we also help ourselves, because we're entrained by those energies and those influences. And this seems to be a point in the planet's history that the ancients, who were pointing at all of those over the eons, that this is the time when something extraordinary is happening, is going to happen for the planet and for the human race. I actually went to see dear old Professor Brian Cox last Sunday, and I don't know if you've seen his show.
No, but a dear friend of mine went and told me just about everything, and had taken some video and everything. So yeah, it was actually in Birmingham.
Yeah, no, I saw it at Wembley Arena.
Oh, Wembley, yeah. It looked extraordinary.
Yeah, he's a pretty great guy. He's
yeah.
But what he said, one thing he said that was very poignant, and I kind of somehow resonated with it, and that was, in his view, and it's his view only, he thinks that, or from all his research and work and all the people he's spoken to, he thinks that it's quite likely we are the only consciousness in the Milky Way. Now, on one hand, that's not saying a lot, because there are, according to him, 2,000 billion other galaxies, right? And this is this one. But there's something quite, perhaps there's a reason why the planet Earth is so important, because we are hosts here to possibly the only consciousness around this part of the universe. And because as I think your Facebook message said today, we are the universe. We embody the universe. The atoms in our bodies have been here forever and have come from all over. We are human universes. And I've always had this feeling that there's something, we're not just another planet floating around in space. There's something, maybe I'm, crazy, but I do feel there's something incredibly special about this beautiful blue ball we live on. Yeah. And it could be that, we're, if consciousness, universal consciousness, didn't exist in this part of the Milky Way, perhaps the ripple effect of that would, go on forever. So there are beings and entities from all over the universe that I feel are, guiding us and supporting us now to make sure that we don't stuff it up.
Yes, absolutely. Pull us back from the edge and hopefully then tip us over into something far more enlightened, rather than plunging into the abyss, which we stare into quite often, don't we, as the human aspect of ourselves.
The dark side before the dawn. So, and it seems to be the nature of humans that we have to go, so far down before we turn the corner and start to go back up again. We go to the depths before we suddenly go, okay, let's do something about this.
Yeah.
Trait.
I definitely feel that's the whole human condition is to know what it isn't on our way to finding out what it is. So it's like we do have to explore the anti aspect before we come back to what it truly is. Wouldn't life be a lot easier if we went straight to go and said, oh, this is what it is. This is love. This is divine consciousness. This is alignment and authenticity. But it seems we have to explore everything other than that first. And that helps us navigate our way back.
Yeah, and also, this is where we experience everything. In the human form. They say even the angels are jealous of humans. Yeah. Because we actually can feel love. Yeah. We've got a nervous system, we can feel love. They just are love. They're just in it. They're like fish in what they are love. But we can tangibly feel it. And that's such an incredible sensation to be able to feel, because we're feeling God. Yeah. And so we get the opportunity to have that human experience. Yeah. And blessed are we. Blessed are we. Absolutely. Blessed are we. Truly. And I felt love today very, very viscerally and physically as I ate my pancake for Shrove Tuesday. And I thought, how blessed am I to be human on Shrove Tuesday when I can tuck into a lemon and sugar pancake. For me, that is the height of bliss. I have simple pleasures, Ivan. I'm very easily satisfied in life. A couple of pancakes and that's me done. That's me on my way to heaven. Yeah, no, I can hear that. Yeah. So, Ivan, that's brilliant. I think that brings us to about the time. Would it be appropriate, would you be able to gift us a card from your beautiful deck and just share with us the message, if that feels okay for you? Yeah, it certainly does. Thank you. card 8, Justice.
Justice. Okay.
So, I love this card so much. Well, I love all these cards. I mean, light and dark, first of all. And what I love about this card is that you might see that Justice is blind. It's blindfolded.
Yeah.
Justice doesn't have any agenda. You know, it is this card is just about what's so, not what we make stuff mean, but just what's so. And you know, it's holding the scales there, which are there's an aspect of this which is to do with the weighing of the heart ceremony, the Egyptian weighing of the heart, where you know our heart is weighed on the scales against the feather of truth, and we want it to be light so that it balances. But really, this card always reminds me of what am I making things mean? Because that's where most of our problems lie. You know, it's not the events that happen, it's what we make it mean. You know, what we make up about it.
Yeah.
And instead of just being able to be a bit more dispassionate and be like the observer who can just see what's happening, we tend to get personally involved, and I'll just tell you a quick story because I love this. Somebody once said to me, if you throw a stone at a dog, what does the dog think? And I thought, well, it thinks you threw a stone at me. He said, no, it thinks that bloke throws stones. It doesn't have the at me bit, right? I'm out here because that bloke throws stones. But it doesn't think, oh, he tried to hit me with a stone. You know, that's a very human thing. You know, we kind of add this meaning in that something happened to me or something, you know, you personalize it. Instead of just seeing what's so. And when we do, life becomes so much less stressful when we can just see things and not have them kind of mean anything.
Yeah.
Because they don't mean anything unless we say so. They're just events. Events happen all the time.
Yeah.
And it's up to us how we interpret them. Yeah, lovely card to have. The Justice card. So also you can see on that card he's standing at the end of a long winding path that we've all come down, and he's kind of saying you will not go any further until you have some reconciliation. There's some work to do, and but a very beautiful card. Makes me feel very, you know, it connects me with some humility in life, and you know, but makes me feel happy to be alive. Otherwise, I wouldn't be the card.
Yeah. Thank you. I had that in my deck. In my reading with you, that came out.
Yes, you did, didn't you? You had
and it was bottom right, I think. So the triangle facing me, bottom right. I think it was in one of the positive aspects.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had a discussion about the Taoist view of non-attachment to the outcome, of not getting drawn into the drama triangle, of being the detached observer of life, of our lives. And as you said, everything is neutral until we put a meaning on it. And that can be a judgment, harsh or positive, or as you say, taking it personally or whatever, but everything is in itself neutral. Yeah. Yeah. So it's up to us how we frame that event, what energy we put around it, what investment we make in it. And if we're adding something that makes us feel anything other than joy and divine love, we have to question, why would we do that? What would be the motivation?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic.
As my partner was just saying to me an hour or so ago, that every thought we have manifests.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It manifests. We manifest with our thoughts.
Yeah.
And so what are we manifesting? You know, what are we making up about things? Because those thoughts will manifest in some form or another somewhere, because they're energy, and they will carry on existing and living. So we're manifesting every moment of our lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are we manifesting?
Exactly.
Creating.
Yeah, and that reminds me of some advice from a beautiful star seed called Karani, who is one of the architects of the colour mirrors system that I use. And she said it behoves us to be impeccable in word, thought and deed. And exactly as you said, Ivan, because everything is energy, and everything we create with a word, thought or deed will go out there and exist in eternity. So do we want to populate the energetic space with beauty, with love, with generosity, compassion, or do we want to populate it with the darker energy, the lower vibrational energy? It's our choice. It's our choice.
Well, it's our choice, and it's all about remembering to choose.
Yes.
What you said is so beautiful, but I'm so unconscious of that so much of the time. I just want to, be blessed enough to that my life is full of that consciousness.
Yeah.
Rather than it just kind of occurring to me, when you say something like that, and I go, yeah, that's right. That is actually what's so.
Yes.
But then, to live moment by moment as much as I can.
Yeah.
From that space.
Yeah. Well, we are the architects, are we not? We are the master architects. We can create what we want with God's blessing. So that is lovely. Ivan, thank you so much. I won't keep you any longer. You have pancakes to eat, dogs to play with.
Yeah. I do. Yeah.
Little Bella. Was it Bella?
Bob and Bear.
Bob and Bear. Oh, bless. One of them just popped in while you were sorting out your volume, and I just saw a little body and then go back out again. So that was lovely. That's like, thank you so much for joining us, for sharing your time. It's an absolute dream. Thank you.
Okay, well, I hope we meet again soon.
We will do. God bless, darling. Bye. Bye-bye.